John Brennan here with MMA T Company. Got a fighter spotlight today. I'm joined by Gordon Wigington. Gordon, how you doing?
Good man. Good man. Good to be here. Beautiful
Good,
day.
good, good. I'm glad to get you on the line today. Thanks for coming in from your car. Wanted to talk to you about a few things. First off, we're coming off of the first live sporting event in about 6 weeks. And
An
as Joe
eternity.
Rogan so eloquently put it, it was weird.
It
I
was.
know. I know you got to watch the fights. We were messaging back and forth a little bit. What do you think of the overall setup, the card, the no crowd, all of that?
The no crowd thing was probably the biggest part of it for me. I felt like it was almost better in some ways to watch the fights that way than it would be to watch it with a crowd of people just yelling random things that don't really know what they're watching. But then I thought about it, and it's like certain fighters you probably wouldn't want in that kind of environment because of the show and everything else that they bring.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about it for people like us on like the regional scene where there probably wouldn't be that bad or that big of an adjustment because the room seemed to be a bit more calm, right? The it wasn't as thick of an environment as it normally would be with the crowd screaming and everything else. So I mean, it was definitely different. It was definitely weird, but it was great to be able to hear like the corners in between rounds. It was great to be able to hear the punches landing, like just hearing how hard Justin Gaethje punches was very very different. It was pretty nuts, and hearing like what it sounds like when Ngannou hits somebody flush. Like it was a different element to bring to it, so it was pretty cool. I didn't mind that aspect of it.
Yeah, I
I didn't
thought
understand the mask and why they had everyone sitting so far apart for commentary though, because when they would do like spots on TV, they'd be like shoulder to shoulder, but then they made them sit like all the way across the cage, which I thought that was weird. But other than that, I thought it was good to see.
I saw Dana tweeted out something like, we did 1,200 tests on 300 people that are going to be in the building, and that's how they find out, that Jacare, had COVID. But then I don't know why, if they're testing all those people, why they still got to wear masks when they're inside, and why some can be close, some cannot be close. I didn't understand who could wear them, who couldn't, why.
I feel like the mask thing is a very blurred line in general anyway, because even like going out places, like you'll see people with masks and you'll see some people without masks, and it's like, are you guys enforcing the rule that we have to have the mask come on in here? Or I'm kind of over it. I just want everything to go back to normal.
Yeah,
I'm ready
me
to walk
too.
around without a mask and go back to training and everything just be regular again.
Yeah. Speaking of those fights, there was some fights that I thought were questionable in terms of decisions, in terms of stoppages. I wanted to talk to you about the Michelle Waterson and Carla Esparza fight. Did you have it going that way?
No, I had Michelle Waterson winning, but at the same time, Carla Esparza seemed to be playing like almost the Michelle Waterson game better than Michelle Waterson was playing. And Michelle Waterson looked a little bit flatter than she normally looks. She's normally bouncing around a little bit more. But towards like the second half of the second round and the third round, Esparza started to put a little bit more pep in her step. She was landing, but she would back out. So I guess she was showing the judges that she was landing and then getting out and getting back in and landing. She also landed that takedown in there. But I thought Michelle Waterson won the fight. I thought she did more. I thought she controlled the grappling better overall throughout the fight. And I thought she landed more.
Yeah, I was on the same page as you.
Yeah, I'm not a judge though. So
yeah, neither am I, and I don't want to be, because that's a lot of pressure on just three people.
I feel like judging is so broken in MMA that it shouldn't even be entertained at this point. Like, I mean, you always feel like that cliche, oh, you don't leave it at the hands of the judges, which isn't easy to do. Like, I hate when people say that, but it's the truth, because it's not. If you can't, no one's gonna, unless your friends in Ghana, nobody's going out there and putting somebody out automatically.
And I don't like that saying either, because that's their job as judges, is to pick the person that won.
You would think that with that being their job, with their profession almost, that they would, be adequate in what they're looking at. Like the Cowboy Pettis fight. Anthony Pettis didn't win that fight to me. I don't understand.
That was the next one I wanted to bring up. I'm on the same page.
Yeah, I don't understand how he won that fight. I don't get it. And then with some of the things that were missed, I mean, I guess it's, again, everyone's back, everyone's excited and everything else, but like I feel like Cowboy's another one of those people who the no crowd environment doesn't really favor. I feel like he would probably do better in any fight anywhere with a crowd. But even with that said, I still don't think he lost that fight. So,
yeah. And then
again,
you have the fights like the Vicente Luque fight, where they're going at it back and forth, and I think that fight not that it would have changed anything about it with the crowd, but the energy that you would have been able to feel with
It
the
would have
crowd
been
in there would have
even,
been
yeah.
completely different.
Like, honestly, that fight was minute for minute was probably almost as good as the Gaethje Ferguson fight. It was, I mean, it was just, in terms of action, in terms of hard shots being landed, it was definitely bloodier. But I mean, but that's kind of run for the course with the Vicente Luque fight. That dude he is a banger. You're gonna know you were in a fight when you fight him.
Yeah.
You're
And
sure going to know you were in a fight. Win, lose, or draw, you're gonna know you were in a fight when you fight him.
and then the same with Calvin Kattar. I mean, that guy comes out to just finish people, and that elbow that he hit Jeremy Stevens with, I mean, that could have
Jeremy
killed a horse.
Stevens, I mean, yeah, but Jeremy Stevens, he comes out guns blazing too.
He
Like, that was
does.
another great fight, and that probably would have been looked at even more. I mean, first of all, it's a stacked card, so every fight was great. Like, the worst fight of the night, probably from a watch perspective, would probably be like Waterson and Esparza. But even that fight was really good. It was
Wasn't
really
even a
good
bad
to
fight.
watch.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad fight. Like, but in terms of compared to the rest of the card, it's probably the slowest fight on the card, with the exception of the opening prelim with Alvey and Spawn. But even like with that, like if that crowd's in the background, and Nico Pierce is crazy. So if he gets that crowd reaction, who knows how that goes? That could probably give him some juice, and who knows what he's going to end up doing. He's a wild man. So yeah, I mean, it definitely put a different it's definitely a different environment to fight in for sure.
And then, I mean, obviously with what Ngannou did, I mean, I would not want to get hit by that guy. No way do I ever want to be in the heavyweight division after watching a human being like that.
Yeah, I posted. I was like, there's not a lot of guys who can make you like glad that you're not in that division. Like, he's one of those
No.
dudes. Like, for you to like you look up in the rankings or whatever, or you look up and see who's the next guy you have to go to get to where you want to be. Like, you want to have to fight that dude if you're a heavyweight eventually. Like, if you want to be the best heavyweight, you're probably gonna have to fight Francis Ngannou, and it's probably going to be a rough night.
Yeah.
It's probably not gonna be. It's not gonna be fun at all. Like,
No.
It's not gonna be one of those fights where it's like, it was a great night. No, that night's gonna suck. Everything about that's gonna be pretty rough because you can't prepare to take something like that. You're going to get hit in a fight.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean,
Stipe really only showed the real formula for it, like to be able to take those kind of shots and be able to wear Francis down and get him to where you want him to be. But I don't know what's going to happen if Francis fights for the title. I'm pretty sure he's going to explode someone's head, and that's going to be that, because that dude, he's scary, man. He's a scary dude, scary power.
yeah, and then I mean, speaking of guys that are scary on kind of a different level, we saw a phenomenal grappling performance from Bryce Mitchell. That kid is a savage.
And so it just goes to show you that if you just work on what you want to work on, and you get good at what you want to do, that was the ultimate. That was the ultimate way to impose your will on somebody. That was he literally went through the same progression, the same steps every time he took him down, and Charles Rose just didn't have an answer for him. Like, I've never seen someone attempt a twister 6 times in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, he used the same sequence from start to finish.
The same sequence, start to finish. He'd take it down, wrist control. Once he gets that hip rod, now he even has the option to take your back and mount you, or to take your back, get that leg laced in, and go for the twister. So, but it was great to watch. It was a masterclass in grappling. It was really, really great to watch. I'll be interested to see how he does against some of those 35ers or 45ers. I think he is
45, yeah.
Yeah, with a good takedown defense, and people who can throw their hands a little bit more technically on the feet. I think that'd be a really nice.
I saw some
I think it'd be
early
great to see him in his camo fight.
camo shorts. I know
he deserves that. He earned that, man.
I saw some early people calling for him versus Ryan Hall on a featherweight fight coming up soon.
See, while we would probably love to watch that, you got to think about it from the UFC. Like, I think people forget that the UFC is a business. Like, when you get all the Conor hate and you get all the bigger name fighters, who all the hate they get, it's still a business at the end of the day. So you got to think about, if they do Bryce Mitchell versus Ryan Hall, they're going to fight on the prelims, which is under where they both should be fighting, because they're both wizards on the mat. They should be fighting in some spotlight on a main card somewhere. But no one's going to the casual fan, I guess, doesn't know enough about jiu-jitsu to really be enthralled with that. So
the stand-em-up guy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, stand 'em up, nothing's happening. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're looking at. I just feel like that. I feel like that fight would be great, though. I feel like it'd be amazing to see. I think I'd take Bryce Mitchell in that fight, though. I don't know if I'd take Ryan Hall. which is it's hard to pick against him because Ryan Hall is a really intelligent fighter and he knows how to get the fight to where he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'd watch it.
I think I'd take. Yeah, I'd definitely watch it. I'd pay to watch it. I think it'd be a great fight, but I think Bryce Mitchell would take that one.
Yeah. And then speaking of stand 'em up guys, they had nothing to complain about, for the main event. I mean, I knew Justin Gaethje was good. I didn't know he was that good.
You know what's crazy is I always felt like he was that good, but I always felt like he took too much damage, and he had those couple of losses. I thought maybe, but like you said, Trevor Whitman is a phenomenal coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's such an intelligent coach, and you can tell how good and intelligent he is when you hear him doing like the fighter commentary in between rounds
Mm-hmm.
when they have their live events and he's commenting on how guys are moving and what they should be doing and what he thinks about it. And to do what he did with Justin Gaethje is pretty great. And I don't know if Tony Ferguson being the kind of guy that cuts weight with no fight scheduled just to prove a point and then having to make weight again in another 4 weeks is the smartest idea because he apparently he gets pretty big. He walks around like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but the game plan that Gaethje came out with was impeccable. And I was talking to a buddy of mine because he had a little poll up on his social media, and I messaged him. I was like, I want to pick Justin so bad. I really want to pick him, but Tony Ferguson showed that when he gets into these chaotic situations, he finds ways to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lando Veneta was piecing him up on short notice, taking it to him, and Tony Ferguson found a way to win. Edson Barbosa was piecing him up for the first round, taking it to him. Tony found a way to win. Kevin Lee, for the most part, was kind of having his way with him on top with the takedowns and the ground and pound, and he choked him out and found a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I knew Gaethje would come out and put the pressure on him, and I figured that Tony would have to fight off the cage a lot more. But Gaethje's game plan was great. He just pieced him up and kept it at that distance. There was no need to do anything different.
Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing about
it makes you wonder, what do you have to do to stop those guys?
Yeah, I don't have
what
an
has to
answer
happen?
for that.
Like, what do you have to do to stop them? To stop Tony Ferguson? Like he got hit with some of the hardest shots I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it sounded like Ngannou was hitting him.
Yeah, it puts it into perspective, like really what we're doing in there. So I hope that people that watch kind of get that perspective of it too, because
Mm-hmm.
we hear those shots when we're in there fighting and we're competing, but the crowd doesn't hear that. They don't understand fully, I think, what's going on in there. And when you're getting hit as cleanly as you're getting hit by somebody that hits as hard as Justin Gaethje does, and to still be like waving them on,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not the most intelligent game plan to me. Like just like the whole throwing sand thing. What wouldn't have been what I would have done in that situation, but you're tough as nails to be able to take those kind of shots and just keep coming.
Yeah, and I mean, he did keep coming till the end, and he even said, he wishes he would have just been able to get put out instead of being stopped. But I mean, the way that he got hit with that jab and then like turned his head and looked away, I've never seen anything like that.
And was spinning around. He was like, oh my, like you could see like he kept a good poker face, but he felt every time he got hit. And the whole let me go out on my shield thing, I get the honor in that and the respectability of that, but that's not why we're a sanctioned sport. That's not why we have referees.
Yep.
That fight could have been stopped a lot sooner.
It could have.
And the ref gave him a chance to fight on, which is great. It's good to see, but I think the ref made the right call and stepping in there. It was no need for Tony Ferguson to be able to be put out in that scenario. He took enough damage.
Mm-hmm.
He took enough. Dominic Cruz, on the other hand.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That we were talking about the other call that I don't think many people agreed with.
I mean, I rewatched it back a few times and I rewatched the fight, and Keith Peterson did let Dominic take a few shots. I just felt like Dominic said, he was working his way back up.
Mm-hmm.
He was starting to find his groove a little bit, but I mean, Cejudo's really good, man. He's really good. He's really annoying. He's really, really annoying. He's really, really good. And, he was fighting Dominic Cruz really well. I hope he does. I hope he rides off into the sunset and doesn't ever come back and do another interview. I like to watch him fight again. I want to watch him fight. But I'm good on the interviews. I'm good on the cringe stuff. I'm okay.
We're on the same page there. Now, in terms of where you're at, with fighting, obviously this pandemic that's going on kind of has all gyms shut down. People aren't really able to train and aren't able to do the things that they want to do to stay in shape, get ready for fights. What have you been up to, in terms of staying in shape, keeping busy, when you're not in the gym?
I got a really, really, really great strength and conditioning coach named Johannes Habtu. He owns Havoc Training Systems, and he's been keeping me busy. He's been keeping me working, kicking my ass. Mm-hmm. So I've been nice and sore. that's been fun. So I'm doing that, and I think I've watched like hours, like in terms of like minutes spent. I think I've spent more time watching fights now than I probably ever had.
Hmm.
Only because I mean it's another mental way to kind of stay engaged. Like having a fight, like we said, having a fight this weekend was really really good. But and it's a good way to stay like mentally engaged and to take
Hmm.
notes and to see how people are using certain things and what entries and what metas and what systems. Like watching Bryson Mitchell fight was great for me because I wish I could show it to you. Like I got a notepad full of notes from that fight, just of things he was doing. And then watching Justin Gaethje fight was awesome, like with the entertainment aspect of it as well. But like what he was doing from a technical point, it was great to see. And even with Vicente Luque, like hearing Henry Hoof telling him when he switches that stance, let the left hook go, it's going to be there, and then he drops him with a left hook in the next round. Like
Hmm.
those are notes that, like as a fighter, I feel like people should be taking heed to, because it's for fighting for us now isn't like how it was before. Like everyone's good.
Hmm.
Everyone's good everywhere. There's not too many specialists anymore. And even the specialists are still good in other places. Like I know jiu-jitsu guys who can knock you out.
Yep.
And I know knockout artists who can choke you. So I think it's good to be well versed everywhere. So like having that time, it's kind of been a blessing in some ways because you get to watch so many fights, so you get to take notes, and you get to relive a lot of the things that you've seen, but you couldn't really pay attention to it in a way that you kind of maybe should have the first time. So just
Sure.
between that and staying in the gym doing that, like hitting pads and doing some drills here and there, but mostly strength conditioning and studying, really just trying to stay mentally sharp, trying to keep my body primed, ready to go, so that when gyms are open, I can get back in. It won't. It's not going to be anything worse when the gyms are open again and all the fighters have to ease back into training.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we kind of been just doing like just general preparedness work, keeping the body primed and ready to go, so that when gyms are open, I can get back in full swing and not have to worry about anything. So that's been great, and watching the finals has been great. It's been working pretty well for me. It's keeping me sane.
That's awesome. And once we get back into the gym, things are back in full swing. We're able to train, put camps together, and there's some fights that can be scheduled. What's next for you? What do you have, goals wise coming up the end of this year into next year?
Uh, Pro debut for sure this year. I feel like I'm a seasoned enough amateur fighter. I've had, I believe, 10 amateur bouts, so I'm kind of glad to be done with that chapter of it of fighting. I think I've gotten enough experience where I can take it to the pro level and start to build a career and see what I'm going to do with this. I mean, I love fighting. I love it to death, but it's not something that you can just prolong and keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting. But at the same time, you don't want to rush into it. And that was my problem before. I thought I was hot shit and you couldn't tell me anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to realize that you don't know as much as you think you know. And all those practice fights, while they don't count for anything now, of course they were the world to me then, but they don't count for anything now. They're nothing but learning experiences. So
Yep.
I got to see where I wasn't good, where I was good, where I could improve. And it got to show me about the ins and outs and how to train and training with the right people and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm definitely looking to make my pro debut, and then we'll just take it from there and we'll see how everything goes.
Awesome, man. Well, we're all looking forward to your pro debut. Hopefully we can get on a card together here soon. I know
That'd be
there's
dope.
going to be pretty much every fighter in Pennsylvania is going to be itching to get on that first card that they schedule whenever they make that happen.
Every fighter in Pennsylvania is always itching to get on the card.
That's
And
true.
then
Yeah, you're
out
right.
to get people pull out. And how many times have you had a fight schedule and you had to go through 4 different fighters to fill in?
Well, my last fight got canceled, and before that, I lost 3 opponents, and the one before that, I lost 2. So, it's pretty
Yeah,
common.
man. And yeah, so yeah, it's nothing's guaranteed. All we can do is worry about like I got one of my teammates. He's a pretty good friend of mine. Pat Sabatini. He's one of the best
Hmm.
dudes in the world. Not even on the East Coast, just in the world. He's so good. But he had a few fights fall through where they're literally falling through like the day of the fight or like 2 days before the fight. You know what I mean? So if people like him at that caliber are dealing with it, everyone's gonna have to deal with
Yep.
it. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, man, hopefully everyone is itching to get back and everyone's doing all the work so that we can put on some fun fights and we can get the ball rolling and everything else. It would be definitely great to see.
For sure, man.
Great
I'm
to
looking
do.
forward to it. Hopefully get down there, get training with you every once in a while too. I'm trying to make some rounds, train with some of our fighters. Think it'd be a good time.
For sure, man. For sure. We got so many great guys, so many hammers down here in Philly, man. It's really, really a lot of really good teams, and I feel like the people that I train with are the best.
Mhm.
So and then we got people all across every weight class. Like I get the honor and the privilege of training with people like Sean Brady and Jonathan Webb and Jeremiah Wells, like all those kind like dudes are complete hammers. You know what I mean? So it's a great place to come to get better. down in Hensel, Philly, and EFC and NPR. Like all those places you're going to get great work. So you should definitely come down and make a trip. Be really good for you.
Will do, man. I'll stay in touch. We'll be in touch soon. Stay safe. Hopefully we'll get on a card here soon.
For sure, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Gordon.
Take care.